I actually went online to see how much this picture frame was, which this video is about, and it's only $60. I mean, it's almost like a little no-brainer. $60. Hey guys, Mike Moo here. You might remember a certain company called Kodak. Kodak was a really big deal back in the day. What I have here is the Kodak Classic photo frame. It's a 10-inch Wi-Fi enabled picture frame. I'll go over a few of the stats over here. It's a 10-inch, it's a touchscreen. It's got a resolution of 800 by 1280 pixels. Basically, it is HD, not full HD, but HD quality. It's got 1 gigabyte of RAM and 16 gigabytes of ROM. It's got media ports that include SD and USB sticks up to 64 gigabytes. And it could display photo, video, and audio stuff. Now, as far as the Wi-Fi portion, it'll support BGNN. Basically, if you have a modern router that is particularly backwards compatible, it's going to have it. So we're going to open it up. We're going to check it out. And I do want to mention that this is a sponsored video, in that Kodak did send this out to me for a video review. Now, over here at the top of the box, it says to please download the Kodak Classic Frame app, and you'll want to go get that from the App Store or Google Play. So this is really how you want to send pictures to it for the most part. But of course, it's got that SD slot. The thing is that at 1280 by 720 resolution, you're probably going to want to use some software to reduce the size of the photos that are coming from your phone and optimize it for the picture frame in a case like that. Okay, so inside we got basically little white protective foam here that protects the screen. You got plenty of Kodak branding on here. This is the Kodak user manual. We have what appears to be picture frame stand. We have an AC adapter, really nice small little AC adapter. We have a USB-A to USB mini, all right? Don't see too many USB minis these days. And we have this tool actually to help mount the picture frame on the picture stand. And that's it, that's all that's in the box. We'll take a look at the picture frame itself. Oh, okay. This looks like a nice classic wooden picture frame. That is something else. That is kind of nice, but the thing is, it has a little bit of a Kodak emblem down here below. And to me, it looks like the Kodak emblem is basically engraved in this wood, and a little bit crooked on this particular model, just a tiny bit. The OCD in me notices that right away, but for most people, they're probably not going to worry too much about it. But I gotta say, the wood is really nice. You don't see a lot of digital picture frames these days with real wood frames, and this is a nice wood frame with a little bit of aged wood texture on here. This is real wood texture in here. That's really nice. I think it's definitely one of the ones that are more visually appealing. I do wish that this Kodak was not on here like this crooked though. It does bother me a little bit. But with that said, the screen is nice and glossy. It's not a matte screen. In the back, it's a little bit thick. Okay, so the reason why I mention this is because this was also meant to be mounted on the wall. It's got a little keyhole right over here for you to mount it. It's got a single this way or this way, so you can do it vertically or horizontally. And that's kind of the design of also the stand here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the stand on, and it has little detents in here that allows you to switch it at different angles, which is cool. So it's very simple to set up over here. It's got detents in here, so you can rotate this around to whichever direction that you're going to have the picture frame. So it could be vertically like this, or it could be horizontal like this. And it's got stereo speakers left and right. That's not something that I see a whole lot of these days, and I have to say the plastic is a higher quality plastic than I was expecting. With something being this thick, I kind of expected it to use a cheaper plastic, but this is a definitely feels like a higher grade plastic. So it's got all the ports over here on this side. So facing landscape wise, it's on the right hand side, so you can stick in a full SD card slot over here and USB ports over there. It even has a headphone jack. I guess if you want to privately watch your videos, you got the headphone jack. It's got USB ports, so I imagine you could just load on and copy your pictures directly on here by connecting it to your computer, since it's got some storage capacity in there for probably hundreds and maybe thousands of photos, actually, as long as you have it optimized. And it has a DC in jack down below. So all the ports come in from the right hand side when it's horizontal and you're facing it, so this side over here, or if you're mounting it vertically, which they anticipate like this, then unfortunately the power comes in from the top. Good news is it actually has a 90-degree angle thing, so it won't pop out too much, but does give it a little bit easier access to the ports. Okay, enough said. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in right now. We're going to see the first boot up of the picture frame, and I'm going to go ahead and load some pictures on there, and I'm going to download the app on my phone, and we'll see how good this is. Now, I have recommended other picture frames in the past, and I've tested other picture frames in the past, and I think one of the shortcomings of a lot of the other picture frames are that it doesn't really support video well. Okay, and you know, I can appreciate that. For instance, the R picture frame, which is probably the most popular video I've done on picture frames, does a good job, but it has very limited support as far as videos go, in that they got to be like 30 seconds and of a certain format, and also, you know, a certain size, which is kind of expected. I definitely don't expect the purpose of a picture frame to be primarily for showing videos, but at the same time, you know, we do take a lot of video clips, and the glasses I'm actually wearing right now are Ray-Ban Stories glasses, which does record 30 seconds to 1 minute of video clips at a time. It would be nice to be able to show off some of that in the form of a picture frame. Okay, so I have it plugged in right now. There is a power button in the back. I'm gonna power that on. We'll see how this works. It's booting up right now. That's not bad. Just first impressions. I'm looking at the Kodak picture frame. It just says Kodak. Now it's booting. Here's the boot sequence. It looks nice. Now, here's the visibility from the side. You see that it is not as strong. It's glossy, but it is not as strong. You know, the glossy has a lot of reflections on it, so you probably notice that right away. I hear the speakers powering up. Just did a little tune, and it is still booting up, guys. It seems like there's a whole operating system going on in here, so it's booting up still. All right, so it's definitely not an instant on. And then now we have a whole setup process here. And I guess this is where some of the Kodak branding comes into play, is I can already see the user interface. It's a little bit better than some of the other cheaper non-name brands. Kodak is, of course, a really big name brand. Now I'm just setting up a little bit of a time zone over here. So I'm going to go in there, set the time zone, and of course this is a touchscreen. Not all picture frames are touchscreens. Actually, most picture frames that I've tested are not touchscreens, and they come with a little remote control. With this, you just use your fingers, and I would say it's pretty responsive. This was definitely well designed to be a touchscreen. All right, so I'm setting a time zone right now, and I guess next thing it's going to ask for is Wi-Fi. Yep. So, and I picked this up pretty quickly. It wouldn't surprise me, because this all looks like it is running maybe a version of Android operating system in here, which, you know, makes sense. Okay, so I just put in my Wi-Fi information. Let's hope I put it in right there. Did I put it in right? No, I didn't. So I'm going to do it again. And now it says, well, there's a new version, and you're probably going to want to do the version update. So it is now updating. Keep in mind, this whole picture frame thing, Kodak might have been started as a US company, but you know, it's licensed out, and like most electronics, it's actually made in China. So it actually says right here, as it's being updated, it actually gives you the information that's updating in Chinese. But at the bottom, there's a bit of it English. It tells you what's new. And all it says is a new version of the system was detected. It actually doesn't give any information about what actually new is in there. So it's installing right now. It's fairly quick. I do have fairly fast internet here, but it is installing. And at the bottom, I can see that it has, you know, there's some good design in here. This is what sets it apart from other cheaper frames or picture frames, is it has a nice clean interface. The designers put some work into this and into the layout. Now, it might seem like I'm making a big deal out of it, but you know, when you look at picture frames, you see a lot of picture frames, some of the interfaces are really just not good. They're just ugly. It's like, you know, what year are we in? Are we in the 80s? Why is that the case? But not here, not with the Kodak. All right, so at the bottom we got album, we got music, so you can play music on here. You got video, you got a calendar, you got weather, and then you got settings. Now, because I haven't loaded any pictures in here yet, I'm just going to take a look at the settings, and it says, okay, so now I need to look at, so there's 16 gigabytes of local storage that you can use for the pictures. And then there's also cloud traffic, and it says 10 gigabytes. No, 10, yeah. So 16 gigabytes local. Cloud traffic wise, limited to, I guess, 10. And over here and about, you got information about the name of your picture frame. You got a serial number, the frame version, etc. So that's what's in the settings section here. But let's check out the weather. It actually tells me what's going on with the weather, which is good. It's a nice interface. I have to say, this is definitely better than I thought that it would be. So it makes sense that you have Kodak behind named all this with all this information. And then you get a nice little calendar there, and you can change the picture so it shows the pictures here. That's pretty nice. I think this would make a nice gift, particularly for the office. Okay, you can show off a bunch of stuff going on here. Now, like a lot of picture frames, okay. So as you can see, it's blank. There's no pictures here right now. So I'm going to load some pictures. And after it's loaded, I can have a carousel of selected photos, a carousel of all the photos, or shuffle all the photos. And then you can choose between a reverse order of time or sort by file name. And that's going to be important if you want to do a little slideshow. All you got to do is put numbers in front of all the file names that you want in the order, and then it will always play in that order. So if you want to use this for like an office type of display where you're showing like a PowerPoint presentation, you could, you know, you can keep this in the front of the store. Or like, let's say if you have a menu of items that are being featured, this could make a great sign, and it looks great. So for instance, if I was running a boba shop or a coffee shop, I could have pictures of the different bobas that are being featured and also price points on here. And then I would just name the file names the way that I want, alphabetically and numerically, so that it plays in order. So that's a really nice touch. Now, as far as the resolution, I was thinking maybe I might be a little bit bothered by it being only HD resolution, but you know, at this size, it's okay. Can I see the pixels? Yeah, I can see the pixels, but only if I'm looking at it really close. So I think the resolution's enough. Now, what I'm really curious about is what kind of videos I can do with this. There is a user upload section and a local import section, and I believe that's what happens when you stick in a USB stick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack open the user manual over here. Okay, I'm going to take a look at it, and I'm going to go ahead and upload some pictures to it. And it looks like the best way that you're going to want to upload and send pictures to it is going to be through the Kodak Classic Frame app that you can find in the App Store. Let me tell you, this book is actually in color. That's what you're getting with a more premium name like Kodak, as opposed to some other cheap thing. So again, good first impressions here so far. All right, so I'm going to download the app. I'm going to put some pictures on here, and then we'll kind of evaluate the quality and some of the features. Okay, so I'll be right back. All right, so I spent about a good 10 minutes or so getting some photos on here, and I do want to share that there are some limitations that I found. Number one, using the app, makes it really easy to send and select photos, but you can only do up to 9 at a time. As far as I can tell, I cannot connect any of my Google Cloud services, or say Google Photos, Amazon Photos, any other cloud service to download the photos on here. Every time I send a photo on here, this actually makes sound just to notify you that there is something new. And that could get a little bit annoying for some people, but you know, it definitely brings attention to the actual picture frame when you do that. Now I'm going to click here and I'm going to choose a carousel of all photos. So it's going to go through one by one just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on here. So as you can see here that we have a selection of, it says there's 36 new picture frames. It's going through one by one kind of quickly. I didn't see any settings in there to adjust things, but it's going through pretty quickly right now. And there's various formats available on the pictures because, you know, some pictures were taken in portrait format and some were taken in landscape format. As you can see with the landscape format, doesn't quite really, landscape and both portrait from the iPhone doesn't quite really fill the whole picture frame because of the aspect ratio is going to be a little bit different. But so far the pictures look pretty pleasing. I'm going to switch this over, and I'm going to switch this over to this orientation. And look, it automatically switched. No, actually this orientation. I got that wrong. So remember earlier when I said when we're doing a portrait orientation, actually the power connectors and everything are on the bottom when you use this stand, because there's only one way to do it, and that makes the most sense. But when you are putting it on the wall, it definitely does have all the ports and everything up top. Now you can see how it doesn't really fill up the entire frame when you're going through these. What it does is it fills out, for most of these pictures, it just fills out like a blurred version of the picture in the back, and that just kind of fills the entire space so that it doesn't look too weird. But at the same time, you know, you figure you got a 10-inch picture frame, how much of it are you going to be able to see? Right, so this says that there's 36 new frames here, or pictures here, and okay, let me switch this back around. So there is a sensor here that automatically switches the picture frame to the appropriate angle that you should be looking at for the picture. So I like that. And basically a little accelerometer. Let me see. Let me go back here. By the way, I wasn't able to upload any music. To do that, I guess you got to do it through Apple Music, especially on the iPhone. And so I wasn't able to do that, but I'll show you the video. Show you what the video kind of looks like. And I'm just going to play carousel of all videos. This sounds okay. This actually was made through the Meta sunglasses. Looks all right. You can
going bananas. You gotta be on this side to go bananas.
You can adjust the volume down here on the screen. You can adjust the whether or not it just loops that one single video over and over again. The quality isn't okay.
You're on the pedal.
It's not bad.
Oh, you thought because the last time you freaked out. You're like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
The audio is tinny sounding, but you can make sense of what's going on. And unfortunately, the videos themselves can't be too long. So when you're using the app, that's my nephew. Yeah, okay. So there's some rudimentary settings that you can do as far as video playback. I guess it's nice that you can do that, but it doesn't integrate it all together. So if you are choosing between whether or not you're going to play photos and videos, you can't combine the two. So for instance, if I was showing a slideshow of the photos on here, I can't have an album that includes both the photos and the videos in one. Okay, it's one or the other. You can't do a mix of photo and video at one through here. The only way to do that is through some sort of other external thing where you make a video that combines a photo, slideshow, etc. So you're not going to do that with the app or actually on the unit itself. I'm going to take a look at the settings on here because I want to see if I can slow this down. And yes, you can. Okay, so there are some other settings in here that you can adjust. So the pictures, we're kind of going by pretty fast, right? Okay, so you can do language, you can do screensaver after 1 minute inactivity. Screensaver type is a clock. Display mode is normal. Play interval is changing the photos every 5 seconds. That's kind of quick. That's if someone's really staring at it. If you really want to make this a picture frame, a lot of times, you know, you want to change that. Let's see what the longest you can do. 1 hour or every 24 hours is a new photo. That might make sense for a picture frame, right? So you have anywhere from 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 24 hours, 1 hour, or manually. So you just flip it when you want to change the picture. I guess there's enough options there for you to choose. Now, what is a little bit disappointing about this is that I can't actually control or change these settings as far as I can tell on the iPhone app of this. So in the iPhone app, it's really there just for you to upload the settings. But as far as changing any of the settings on here, like I can, for instance, on Aura, I can't do that here, right? And I also don't see a way for me to say, hey, invite a friend over or family to change and upload the pictures or manage the picture frame for me. I'm going to have to link it manually on here. So there's a little alarm function on here that's kind of nice to have, so you can do dual purpose. There's a time display. You can set the time zone and all that stuff manually. Pictures. Okay, so yes, you can. So if you want to send picture frames, anybody wants to send pictures to the thing, it'll give you a unique email address to send it to. So you can do that. Gives you some information about how much storage you're using. So I can already tell that I'm already using 878 megabytes out of 16 with all the photos and stuff that I put in here. So let me go back here and I'm going to customize this. I feel like 5 seconds of picture is a little bit too fast. Okay, so I'm going to make some adjustments there. You can change the Wi-Fi, your account information on here as well. So that's all in the settings here. You got to scroll down, and I do believe that this is all based in type of startup autoplay. Okay, the main interface. So when I have it boot up, I can automatically have it just switch to picture mode rather than the main interface. The main interface is basically what you saw earlier. You can change the way that it shows the transitions. I think the original one is okay. So there's some things over there. Play interval. All right. I want to do it let's try every 10 seconds. That seems to be a little bit better. Okay, now there's no quick way for me to change any of these others. This is the main screen, by the way. So what it means when you have this powered on or off in the main display is, if you have it powered on, this will be the main display of whatever it is you want, but I set it so that it would just play my pictures automatically. So I'm going to shuffle all the photos here and just go ahead and have them play at once. I'm going to move in front of the picture frame just to get a better look and evaluation of the quality of the photos. And I'm going to say, yeah, that's acceptable. All right. You're not getting the full. You're not getting HD. Hey, you are getting something that's good enough for viewing distance. Right. This is not a mind-blowing display over here that I'm noticing on here. But you know, it's decent. It's about as much quality as I would expect of an actual picture on a, here, I'll just move this a little bit closer. Picture on a picture frame. But what could be bothersome is that, you know, this is there's a bit of a reflection here. This is my newest nephew, Paxton. Look at his chubby cheeks there. Okay, and these are mostly iPhone photos. Okay, so like most people, if you're taking a lot of photos, you're probably using the phone the most. Okay, that's just most people. This is Bill, my newest brother-in-law. He just got married in September. Went to his wedding out there around Napa. And this is a selfie off my iPhone 15. All these pictures here are actually all taken from my iPhone 15 Pro Max. And it was just simply opening up the Kodak app and sending the photos by choosing upload. Again, I'm choosing up to nine at a time, which could be a little bit annoying because if you're trying to go back in a back catalog, you're just swiping through forever to get to the sections that you want. Okay, this was over in Colorado. I was in Colorado for a conference and I met up with my cousins and, check some things out. This is over at De Anza College. These are all selfies. And I think 10 seconds seems to be enough when you're going over things so you can kind of talk about it. This is moments before I fell into this little creek over here in Colorado. I moved on to one of these slippery rocks and I took a dump right on in there. That was a little bit of an adventure. I mean, at least I got this good photo out of it. There's actually a branch coming in here that was actually part of the picture because the branch was in the way. But yeah, this is over in, where's it, Sausalito? We were just in Sausalito over the weekend and picked up some nice new bikes over from Priority Bikes, but this was just one of the walkways through. And as you can see, this is not filling out the whole frame here. See this part? But they kind of blur other stuff out here so that, so it kind of fills up the whole frame, right? The picture itself is not filling up the whole frame, but it's less distracting when you blur out the back of the picture and zoom in on it. Okay, so we took my nephew and my brother out for a little trip out there, and we bike ride, and we were riding one of the little trains there. And this is in Napa. This is a 360 photo, just kind of fully flattened out on here. And this is everybody, all my family over there at the wedding. And here we are in San Luis Obispo, I think. Yes, San Luis Obispo on a bike ride. You can see the picture. The picture quality is pretty decent. I mean, I really don't have any problems with it other than the glare, okay? So what am I talking about glare? That. See that? That's glare. See that reflection? That's a little bit of the glare. So if you're going to have this in some sort of environment, it's kind of glare like when you have glass on top of a picture frame. So, okay, so we took a hot air balloon ride. This was down over in, Morro Bay area, I think. I forget. The Amex Lounge recently in Denver, Colorado. Selfie picture, also with the phone. Yeah, the quality is good. Again, Paxton has a pumpkin here. And this is my nephew, Christopher. He's recently started talking a lot now. This is him as a ninja in Halloween. Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent picture frame. I don't know what the price is of it, of course. But I imagine that it is fairly far. I'll have a link down below. It's not an affiliate link as far as I can remember or I can tell. I'm not an affiliate of Kodak, but I have to say, the picture frame. Okay, so in summary, this is a good classic picture frame. That's exactly what they call it, a classic picture frame. By classic, you got classic wood out here, all right? It looks like a real picture frame, except that this whole section here is digital. You can stick it in an SD card with your photos and videos and stuff, and it will play it back. Just make sure you format it correctly to the proper size, and those details are in the user manual. Keep in mind, this is just an HD display. It's not even full HD, it's just an HD display. But as you can see, it's enough. It picks up enough detail, shows you enough detail. The interface is just clean enough, okay, that you can see pretty clearly everybody in the picture. The color and the contrast and the clarity are just enough. Okay, I don't really have too many complaints about it, particularly since the target audience is pretty much taking pictures with the phone. Some gripes with it. Okay, so you're gonna have to load the photos yourself. If you're using the app, while it will allow you to send pictures directly from your phone, which is great, through the Wi-Fi to the cloud, which then gets downloaded on here. So this picture frame doesn't need to be on. And you can only select 9 at a time. Okay. You can also email photos to the frame. They'll give you a little email there that you type in, or you can share with trusted friends and family to send photos on there, probably videos too. Video clips are really limited too. Okay, there are probably at most 30 seconds at a time. And the best way to get those through there is to use the app itself to send the videos out. So think like Instagram, all right? Short video clips. 30 seconds max, so just really short stuff. You're not gonna be playing a whole YouTube video on here. And finally, this does need to be plugged in. There is no battery in it. There's limited selection of how you can show off your photos and videos on here, so keep that in mind. And then finally, I can't remote control this the way I can remote control other picture frames, for instance. But, you know, there's no monthly fee. And the interface is really simple to use. It's touchscreen. It seems like fingerprints don't get stuck on here too badly. And I think this makes a pretty good gift. Okay. All right, that's it for the Kodak picture frame. Please give this a like, subscribe for more. If you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer them. I'll just, you know, put them down there in the comments. But yeah, it's not bad. Okay, it really does stand up to the classic thing. And then the whole Kodak thing with the whole interface is just a plus. So for those of you guys that have concern about the cloud and whether or not this Chinese company is gonna, you know, give away your privacy and all that stuff, there's a couple ways to protect against that. Number one, you can actually just load pictures directly onto the SD card slot down here, and also the USB port as well. So you can format it for the 1280 by 720 or 1280 by 800 resolution, and just stick in an SD card. Don't have to connect internet. It will just work, just like that. The other thing you should do is put this on the guest network. Don't put it on your home network connected to everything else. Just put it on a guest network that's completely separate from the rest of your stuff inside. That's one way to just kind of protect yourself in case, for whatever reason, your Kodak frame decides that or that people around the world are just going to decide they want to hack your Kodak picture frame and take all your pictures. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to do. So just keep that in mind. You can keep it completely offline if you want to do it that way, and just keep it completely off your network. So with that in mind, finally, what I recommend is, yes, it is great. However, there are some things that are not available on this picture frame. Number one that comes into mind is it does not have a light sensor. So what that means is, on some picture frames, light or motion sensor. On some picture frames, it'll turn on and off depending on whether or not there's actually someone there to see the pictures. And the other thing is the light sensor will allow it to determine what kind of appropriate brightness level you should set your picture frame at. So this doesn't have any of that to do it automatically. You got to kind of set it manually, just like, you know, regular picture frames. So that's one of the things that you're missing out, but I feel like that's kind of small in comparison to what you get for $60. Again, I really don't know if this is just a holiday special price or not, but it gets a thumbs up from me, especially for the price. Okay, so that's it for this video. Please give this a like, subscribe for more. I'll catch you next one. Thanks for watching.